It's your favorite YouTube dealer. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. We got some new time MacDonald. It's called The Machine. And I forget exactly what he said in his tweet. It was something about changing the landscape of the world or something like that. But it's got me excited because I feel like this man always is saying some stuff that we got to pause, we got to talk about. So this might end up being a long video. We'll see where it goes. We do have a Patreon link down below if anybody's interested. It's just a direct way of supporting the channels that you guys like watching. You get some early reactions, some exclusive ones every once in a while, bonus content behind the scenes, or we do have a join button right here on YouTube if anybody doesn't want to leave. And it's like the cost of a cup of coffee, you know what I'm saying? So if you guys want to buy me a little bit of Dunkin', I'm here for it. But let's dive in. Let's see what my man's up to with this one.
I am not Republican, I am not a liberal. Why the hell can't I just be American without getting political? The system gonna suppress us all, they don't care about the cost. How's this a democracy when we got communists in charge? Cancel culture Nazis, all they're missing is the swastikas.
Yo, this man cooks in every song immediately, like right off the jump. I like how he opened that up. I'm not Republican, I'm not liberal. Why can't I be American without getting political? I feel this way all the time. And I'm not either side because I feel like both of y'all are crazy. Like, I'm just being honest with you. I'm sorry if you feel some type of way. Both sides are crazy, especially the extreme ends. It's like there's things on both sides that make sense. So it's like, why don't we just bring the shit that makes sense into the middle and like stop pushing these narratives and being like, well, because I'm this side, I've got to back all this stuff to like some extreme extent, or the other side. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's more and more division. And I don't know. It drives me crazy. And then people are like, well, what? You don't pay attention to the politics? You should be closely monitoring it. It's like, listen, I just want to chill sometimes. Like, sometimes I just want to kick it. Like, what happened to that? Because that used to be how it was.
Honestly, this is a psychological holocaust.
Hold on, we got to go back a little bit, though. I don't want to miss nothing.
Republican, I am not a liberal. Why the hell can't I just be American without getting political? The system gonna suppress us all, they don't care about the cost. How's this a democracy when we got communists in charge? Cancel culture Nazis, all they're missing is the swastikas. Honestly, this is a psychological holocaust. Pumping propaganda through the screen and straight into your brain. You ain't on a plantation, but you definitely still a slave. Race theory is indoctrination.
Yo, this man on some shit with this one. I like this. They're pumping all the stuff straight through the screens. You might not be on a plantation, but you still a slave. That is the realest shit ever. It's like it's just evolved to a point where like it's something that we accept, right? It's like, well, you know, I'm not being told what to do. I have certain freedoms, and so I feel okay with the life being the way that it is and things being the way that they are. But in all reality, from the top down, it really is kind of the same. It's just built differently, right? It's like they didn't just get rid of slavery. We got rid of the way slavery was. And I feel like we evolved it to something that works for the top class people, for the people that make the most money. And I feel that way 100%. I can't deny that one bit. I'm sure some people will, but I really truly believe that it is that way. I really do.
Right into your brain, you ain't on a plantation, but you definitely still a slave. Race theory is indoctrinating children. Tell blacks they're disadvantaged, tell whites they got white privilege. What a brilliant way to reinforce division. If whites believe they have it easy, they will never help you fight the system. And now they
Yo, I'm sorry, I gotta keep pausing it. Yo, listen, that whole like race theory stuff, critical race theory, I think is what they call it, right? CRT. I cannot stand it. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, I get like having people understand the history and acknowledge certain things, but they're literally pushing this narrative. And from everything I've seen, because we've done plenty of reactions on stuff like this on my Tribe Reacts channel, where we're watching like how they're pushing to these young kids who are very impressionable, how the white person is the oppressor. So you're a white student, you feel like we are the oppressors and they're the ones that are disadvantaged. And don't get me wrong, like, has it been that way in the past? Of course. But why are we pushing this narrative now and trying to make it seem like this is like this really big thing, as if there's not opportunity for everybody out there, depending on the way that you approach your life? It's just like you're setting people up for a really weird future. I can't help but feel that way. Like, we're setting up a really, really odd future. And it's kind of disgusting to me. And I just don't agree with it. And you know, I can't speak for all black people, but as a black person, I don't like it. I don't feel like you need to teach people that the white kid in my class was the oppressor. Like, that's because that's your role because you're white. And he's the disadvantaged because he's black. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, when we were in school, man, I feel like shit was so different. Like, we all just got along. I was one of 3 black kids in my school. Now, obviously, my experience isn't everybody. Some people probably had some really horrible experiences. And there may have been some people that looked at me differently. But I never experienced that really to that level, right? Like there might have been a few little things I can probably pinpoint here and there, but for the most part, like I was accepted just like everybody else. Like we all had fun. We all just enjoyed ourselves because there wasn't this constant conversation about, well, he's black and this is what he's been through. You're white and this is what you did to him. Like there wasn't this conversation to keep us divided, to keep us thinking that there was a difference between us, right? Like we were able to just enjoy ourselves as children. And I feel like that's how it should be.
This theory is indoctrinating children. Tell blacks they're disadvantaged, tell whites they got white privilege. What a brilliant way to reinforce division. If whites believe they have it easy, they will never help you fight the system. And now they burn in books in untraditional ways. They just traded newspapers for the digital age. Now the facts can be deleted with no physical flames. They just change the information and the truth gets erased.
That's a good point. Whew, I like that hook. I didn't want to pause so often, but I had to pause it again because at the end, how we said that we went from newspapers to the digital age. And it is kind of scary, right? Because at least with newspapers, with books, with these different things, like we had physical copies of what was said, physical copies of what kind of narrative was being pushed at different times. Whereas now that it's the digital age, they just go on and just edit a web page. And I mean, maybe there's some way, because I'm not like a computer savant. Like I know computers, I could build a computer. I understand certain things, and I've been on computers for a long time in my life. And maybe you can go back and see the history of a web page, but I don't know how all of that works. But regardless, you could just edit and just change something. And then it's like, poof, the last version didn't exist, right? Like at least not to the people that are watching on the surface level. Whereas before, at least like you could, oh, I got this newspaper. I got here's what they did. Here's what happened. Here's, and even then the newspaper, we're talking to media still. We're still talking to media and how they decided to portray it at that time, at that, facet of life, whatever you want to call it. It's like, it's a lot of fishy shit going on in this world.
I am not Republican. I am not a liberal. Progressive and traditional are hitmen hired to kill the individual. They label people red or blue, divide us. They don't ever help. They want you thinking left or right, so you ain't thinking for yourself. Go ahead and vote, because both the parties are the same side. Two teams, one coach, controlled by the same guys. Left wing, right wing, both help the same bird fly. Brainwashing everybody at the same time.
I like that. Left wing, right wing, both help the same bird fly. That's a dope way of putting it. I really like that. And I like this because I feel like a lot of people get this idea that Tom is automatically right wing. Like he's extreme right, or he's pushing for this and doesn't like the other side. And I like this because this is him saying, listen, they're both the same. Like, it doesn't matter who we voted. Like, they're both a wing of the same bird. It's the same bullshit. Like, that's not what this is about. It's not about picking a side. It's about understanding that both sides are there to confuse you from having to think for yourself, from having to actually put in some research and come to your own understanding. And a lot of times it lands in the middle. Like I said, there's shit from both sides I can agree with. But inevitably, if depending on what it is that comes out of my mouth, if I say something that I agree with from the right side, I'm going to be on the right side. If I say something I agree with from the left side, people are going to say I'm on the left side. Like it's like an automatic thing. Like you can't have beliefs that expand to both because it's common sense. It's research, it's understanding, it's thinking for yourself instead of just being like, well, I followed this side, so I've got to blindly follow all this bullshit. And I feel like we just get brainwashed down this path and it's crazy.
Label people red or blue, divide us, they don't ever help. They want you thinking left or right, so you ain't thinking for yourself. Go ahead and vote, because both the parties are the same side. Two teams, one coach, controlled by the same guys. Left wing, right wing, both help the same bird fly. Brainwashing everybody at the same time. The internet was once a place that we could get our facts from. Now it's been monopolized. It's Google or it's Amazon. Who fact-checking the fact-checkers? I can answer that one. The people who control the narratives through the platform. Let me break this down for you, simple as I can, Kate. They use social conditioning to put you in the rat race. It doesn't matter if you're first or third or if you're last place. You're still a rat, and they're the cats who kill you so you can't escape. They keep screaming to wake up, but they're all woke, not awake. We know the system has failed us, and all the media's fake. I swear the government hates us. Having opinions is dangerous. The system built to enslave us only works if we're afraid. I am not Republican. I am not a liberal. I am just a man who knows they're scared of a nation that's thinking critical. They kill us or they lock us up for nothing like we're criminals. Divide us because they know that unified we are invincible.
Yo, this shit got me hype. I like this. I'm sorry. People out there that don't like Tom, like, it is what it is. I can't tell people to like somebody, but this man is speaking some real shit. You know what I'm saying? And I get that some of the arguments against Tom are like, oh, it's always about this or it's always about this, the same kind of thing. And well, that's his niche, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that being his niche. And especially at a time like this, I feel like this kind of stuff is necessary to be discussed, to be talked about, to be pushed, and have people have dialogue and conversations around it. I think is very important. And it's just like, it's wild. And it's like, what is the answer, right? Because the internet used to be a place where we can get some facts, but in all reality, it did grow to be monopolized. And it's like, now who controls it is whoever controls those platforms. And so it's like, well, what do we do as a people? And it's like, there's never really going to be like a set answer of a way for all of us to come together and just get facts, because there's always going to be somebody in charge of that platform or in charge of that portion of the internet or in charge of that forum or whatever it is that we talk on that's going to kind of push their narrative a little bit. And it's kind of just the way people are, right? So it's sad, but it's like, that's why it's important that you do your own research. Don't just blindly follow one thing. Look all over, take in all of the information, and then try to come to your own conclusion. And it may not always be right, but at least you gave it your best shot to really have an understanding of the whole picture instead of just going down one road.
Republican, I am not a liberal. I am just a man who knows they're scared of a nation that's thinking critical. They kill us or they lock us up for nothing like we're criminals. Divide us because they know that unified we are invincible. Questioning the government's agenda is controversial, but promoting guns and liquor in our music is commercial. They're confusing us with pronouns they made up to make us triggered. You can call me what you want, but just don't call me late for dinner. School teaches you to learn and never teaches you to think. So you absorb misinformation, then you practice what they preach. You ain't free, can't you see that's how they want you to act? That's called conforming to the norm. You don't need freedom for that. I'm not Republican or liberal or left-wing or right-leaning. I took the red pills because that's who's fighting for my freedoms. And you don't need to choose to be accepted. They both fake teams. Evil runs the world now like hell ain't got no vacancy. They keep screaming.
I like that, though. He said, I took the red pill because that's who's fighting, you know, for my team as far as just being more independent. But he's saying, but I'm not right-wing, I'm not left-wing. I still don't identify as any of that bullshit, because that's exactly what it is. It's bullshit. I like this verse. This might be my favorite verse right here. I'm not going to lie to you.
Criminals divide us because they know that unified we are invincible. Questioning the government's agenda is controversial, but promoting guns and liquor in our music is commercial. They're confusing us with pronouns they made up to make us triggered. You can call me what you want, but just don't call me late for dinner. School teaches you to learn and never teaches you to think. So you absorb misinformation, then you practice what they preach. You ain't free, can't you see that's how they want you to act? That's called conforming to the norm. You don't need freedom for that.
Facts.
I'm not Republican or liberal or left-wing or right-leaning. I took the red pills because that's who's fighting for my freedoms. And you don't need to choose to be accepted. They both fake teams. Evil runs the world now like hell ain't got no vacancy. They keep screaming to wake up, but they're all woke.
Yo.
We know the system has failed us and all the media's fake. I swear the government hates us. Having opinions is dangerous. The system built to enslave us only works if we're afraid.
Now, I'm also going to be honest with you. I feel like my man low-key and I could be wrong about this. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. But obviously, I'm sure some of you guys are aware of the fact that Upchurch did a diss at Tom MacDonald. I did a reaction to it because I love back and forth, and I wasn't sure if Tom was going to respond. I think him doing a song like this and just keeping with his narrative and his purpose and speaking his mind on the things that are important to him, I think is a shot in itself, right? Like, I'm not even going to entertain that kind of shit. Although, had he responded, I'd have been right there for it. I'm not going to lie to you. I love me some diss tracks. But I feel like this whole sequence where he says, call me what you want, just don't call me late for dinner, it rhymes with, you know, the N-word necessarily, which we all kind of probably know by now that Upchurch had called him. And I feel like it's kind of like low-key his way of throwing like a little shot, right? Like it just, I don't know. I can't help but feel that way. And I can appreciate it if that's what it is. If I'm overthinking it, then hey, listen, you know, that's on me. And I wasn't going into this thinking anything about a diss, because especially once the song started, I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like, I was focused just on the topic at hand, but I can't help but think that this is related.
That's called conforming to the norm. You don't need freedom for that. I'm not Republican or liberal or left-wing or right-leaning. I took the red pills because that's who's fighting for my freedoms, and you don't need to.
Oh, hold up. I think I didn't go back far enough.
Pronouns they made up to make us triggered. You can call me what.
Okay, here we go.
Music is commercial. They're confusing us with pronouns they made up to make us triggered. You can call me what you want, but just don't call me late for dinner. School teaches you to.
I'm just saying, I feel like that is a little bit of a shot because he obviously must have known that the diss happened. I'm sure he heard it and he's probably like, listen, I'm not going to respond, but I can almost throw it's a little piece in there. You know what I'm saying? A la to, I don't want to say a la, what am I looking for? Like, respect to Eminem, right? Because Eminem will do a track that has nothing to do with a person, but you'll see like a little bar in there you could pull out and be like, that might have been a response to this one situation. I like that.
Learn, it never teaches you to think, so you absorb misinformation, then you practice what they preach. You ain't free, can't you see that's how they want you to act? That's co-conforming to the norm, you don't need freedom for that. I'm not Republican or liberal or left-wing or right-leaning. I took the red pills because that's who's fighting for my freedoms, and you don't need to choose to be accepted. They both fake teams. Evil runs the world now like hell ain't got no vacancy. They keep screaming to wake up, but they're all woke, not awake. We know the system has failed us and all the media's fake. I swear the government hates us, having opinions is dangerous. The system built to enslave us only works if we're afraid.
This was really dope. Always shout out to Nova. Nova is amazing, an amazing artist, videographer, all of that stuff. But this, I feel like this is necessary. I can see what he's saying where he said it's going to change the landscape. It's just one of those songs where the more people that hear this, I feel like the better that it's going to be because it's speaking the truth. And it's a truth that I fully believe in. Both sides are crazy. Both sides are fake teams. They just try to make you pick a side, but you don't have to be cool. You don't have to fit in. You don't have to have your own opinion. Like, just think for yourself. Listen to both sides. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to what makes sense. And do your research on all of it yourself. Don't just follow a path of someone that's trying to pull you one way or the other. Like take all that shit out of it and like really do some like research, some understanding, some looking things up and look it up multiple places. Look up one that's for what you're looking up and look up something that's against it and try to just evaluate the information yourself because I feel like you'll slowly come to what makes the most sense, right? At least to me, that just it seems likely. So I don't know. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought about this. If I'm overthinking that little moment of a shot. Ooh, I almost choked right there. Goodness. That moment of a shot. Listen, I should just get out of here. Once you choke like that, I feel like that's the Lord's way of telling me, Duane, it's time to move on. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to MacDonald. This was probably one of my favorite things he's dropped in quite a while. I will catch you in the next one, homies.